What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Trucking and Stories, as I'm trying to get controls again. Alright, it's been a while since we last did this, like 1.5 months actually, so quite a while. And I don't know which episode this is, 7, 8, I don't know, something. Doesn't matter, you will read it in the title. You will also read in the title, most likely, if I title it correctly, what this is about today. And today I want to talk about the impact of YouTube on gaming, and of gaming on YouTube, kind of a vice versa thing. And what I want to start here with is the impact it has from a creator side. Like, how do you as a creator change your gaming habit because of YouTube? And then at a later stage in the video I want to talk about the relationship between gaming companies and YouTube creators. And then I also would just want to put in some personal thoughts about the whole thing. So, how does YouTube change your gaming behavior? And which impact does YouTube creation have on the gaming behavior in general? And there's some thoughts I have about this. And first, I want to talk about my own experience with this. And my own experience with this is it does alter how you perceive games, how you view games, which games you do play. Because especially when your time is limited, most of your gaming time is spent either recording a video or preparing to record a video. Let's take Age of Empires 2 for example, or Spyro or whatever. I either prepare a video, and by that I mean I pre-play a level that I want to record so that I know what I'm talking about, or I don't know, try to find something out that I can use in a video or whatever. You kind of try to prepare to create a video. And in that sense it's not just playing for fun, but it's like you're playing for a purpose. And instead of simply, hey, I feel like playing this game, I feel like playing that game, and then I do it. So it certainly alters that. It also has an effect on which games you play, because sometimes you're like, well, I'm feeling like playing this game, but I kind of have to record that now because I need to release another episode of it or whatnot. And this gets worse the bigger the channel gets, obviously. Now, I still have a certain creative freedom because I'm not living off this channel. It's a hobby. And when it's a hobby, you can just record whatever, you can play whatever, you can take risks, you can do whatever you like. But the bigger the channel gets and the more reliant you get on it doing well, the less freedom you have about what you do. Because your content is more and more dictated by what's popular, by what's getting clicks and views, and by what's in demand. And luckily, and in a way it's unlucky, but I'm not bound by that right now. I said it in an earlier video, if I was strictly going by views, then I should have continued Tropico, but like I already mentioned earlier, I'm not a fan of the game, I don't like it very much. So I discontinued it. It's as simple as that. And that's one of the perks of having a smaller channel and of just doing this as a hobby. I could just say, well, I'm not feeling this anymore, I want to discontinue it and want to do something else, and then I did AoE 1 instead. Or focused more heavily on AoE 1 instead. And right now that's actually my most successful series. Not most successful video, that still belongs to Tropico, but like as a series as a whole, it's right now doing the best, so there you go. Sometimes that works. Oops, I pressed the wrong one again. Okay, that's the map. I'm still trying to figure out the controls here. Alright. whatever. So, like I said, there is a certain freedom that I still enjoy, but even I still have these moments where I'm like, I feel like playing this game right now, but I probably should play that because I want to do a video for it, even though I'm right now not feeling it. And that's why I haven't published AoE DLC missions yet. I'm just not feeling it right now. I'm playing other games right now, and I certainly plan to cover the campaigns. I've played 2 missions of it so far. And another thing is time restraint. Obviously these missions take a long time to record. They're usually pretty long. And you obviously need to prepare them. A video like this, I don't need to prepare it. I just play. And that's that, you know. So it's a big benefit of this type of video. I can just boot up a game and talk and play, and it's all good. But again, even at my channel size, you do have these thoughts where you prioritize games for recording rather than what you feel like playing at that moment. And that's certainly something that changes when you record videos or when you are a content creator. It certainly has an effect on your own personal playing experience. It also becomes more about, I'm not just playing to enjoy it, I'm playing to achieve something like a good round or something that I want to record, or I want to play this mission in a specific way, or whatever. I want to unlock this achievement for that, and I want to explain that, and I want to find out something behind it, instead of just playing it for fun and whatever. So that is certainly something that has an impact. You also view games differently. You don't view them as just, well, I like enjoying them, but you also view them in, would anyone care watching that? You certainly ask yourself that question. Now, again, at my channel size, I don't really have to ask myself that too much, because... How do I turn this off? Honk. That wasn't it. Oh well, whatever. At my channel size, I don't have to care about that too much, because I can just take risks, I can do whatever. If I enjoy something, I can record it, and then that's that. And if someone enjoys watching it, that's great, and if not, then, well, you know, if I had fun doing it, great. And the thing at my channel size is I can just say, well, if there's one person out there that enjoyed watching it, a job well done, right? So I don't really have to worry about that too much. But obviously the bigger your channel gets, like I already mentioned that, and the more reliant on the channel you are, the harder such decisions are becoming, because all of a sudden you need to ask yourself, well, what do I play next? What is interesting? What should I play? What gets views? And constantly just having to monitor the popular tab to figure out what you need to do is... I imagine that's quite frustrating and quite annoying. And it's always tough when a hobby becomes kind of a second job, or for some people a first job, obviously, and those exist as well, of course. And I don't condone that. I mean, if people get to make money off of YouTube, that's great. If you can live your dream, more power to you. But of course it has its downsides, like what I just mentioned, and that just has an impact on how we perceive games, how we treat games, and you can also tell people that are recording multiplayer rounds, they're often very tense. And of course you get these tense people all the time. Everyone is trying hard, and everyone is just wanting to compete and everything, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I've made the experience that a lot of times when you have these guys that promote their own channel in their name, like this and that, TV, YouTube, blah 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 blah, you know who I mean. when most people are doing poorly, I often see some misbehavior there, and obviously it's not limited to them. When people are doing poorly, they call out, they write nasty things in the chat and all, and that obviously happens with everyone, but I feel like this pressure to perform on camera sometimes gets to some of those recording people. Not all of them, of course. I'm not wanting to generalize or put everyone in the same basket. I'm just saying for some people that could be an issue. And I think we have enough poor behavior in video games to the point where things that add to poor behavior even more maybe aren't ideal. So it's just something to watch and think about. Just the other day I had someone call me a hacker repeatedly, and like I checked the profile, and that guy was also doing videos on the game, and he was pretty mad that I kept killing him. And he actually said at the start of the round that we shouldn't mind that our deaths are being put on tape. And that was a pretty bold statement already, and I was like, okay, that's probably someone who is really good, but not really. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I don't know. And it's okay. I'm not saying that everyone doing videos should be a grandmaster at games. And that's just not the case. When you go around YouTube, there are plenty of big YouTubers that are decent at the games but not great. And what they manage to do is just they manage to pack it in an entertaining way, and they present it in an entertaining fashion, and that's how it sells. It's not necessarily the biggest skill that they present. We have fuel for 155 miles and we have 110 miles remaining, so we just keep going. But yeah, to continue that point, there are a lot of YouTubers out there, also big ones, who are pretty good at games. I mean, they play a lot. They are pretty good. I'm not saying they're horrible. But they're by no means like experts or anything. And they're still doing really well on YouTube because they have a skill at making it entertaining. So I'm not saying this guy that was recording the video like shouldn't be on YouTube because he wasn't just owning everyone. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're that bold to proclaim that you're putting everyone's deaths on tape, and you're big mouthing everyone, and then you're performing, let's call it mediocre, and you're calling people out because they're killing you, then I don't know. I think the pressure has gotten to him. I didn't watch any of his videos, but I've seen 2 titles on his Steam profile of videos he promoted. And it was like promoting some super skills or rounds, and you know how it goes, like where you present your skill streaks and your, I actually wanted to say kill streaks, but that's fitting as well. And it's like I think he was just angry that he didn't get the kill streaks to show off, and it was kind of wasted time for him to play in a round where he's getting killed all the time. And he was pretty mad. And I just think, I don't know, like, would he have reacted the same way if he wasn't under the pressure to perform rounds for his recordings? I don't know, maybe. There are plenty of people out there who keep insulting and throwing insults out when they die, and they are not recording, so maybe it has no impact. Who knows? Who knows? It's a tough thing to answer. And I'm not blaming YouTube or the gaming thing, it's just something that I think is taking an effect. And I noticed in Killing Floor 2, when I was recording that a lot, when you're recording a round and everyone is just messing up and it kind of ruins the round and the enjoyability of the round, then that certainly bothered me more than when I wasn't recording. Let's say you're having an amazing round and you're recording it and it's going great, and then everyone is just messing up and playing poorly and not doing their job, and the whole video becomes derailed by that because everything starts going wrong and you're surrounded by a million enemies. Well, of course that's more annoying than in the regular round. I understand that, but you don't need to then freak out and insult everyone over it. But you do become a little bit more tense than you were before, and I actually was talking to a friend the other day, and she also said in all those years she has never really seen me freak out or anything, or witnessed me being in a bad mood or being annoyed or anything. But sometimes when I was recording I seemed a lot more tense in those games that we played together, and that was part of why I came up with this video idea, because I was like, well, what kind of effect does it have after all? And maybe that is an effect that it has. Maybe you do become more tense when you're recording. Maybe you do become a little more annoyed when things don't go your way because the video you are recording isn't going your way, or whatever it might be. And you maybe have to re-record something when it doesn't go your way, and it's annoying because you have to replay it, and you know. I've had games that I was starting to record, and at some points in the game it didn't go the way I liked, and I didn't feel like re-recording it, and then I stamped the entire project. It's like, that's frustrating, and then I just threw the game into the bin. Like, obviously not, it was digital games, like, you know, like everything today, but kind of metaphorically I threw it into the bin because, I don't know, it sucked the fun right out of the game, because I would have probably played on if I just played for fun, but it was like, for the purpose of recording it became useless because it didn't go in a way that I wanted to present. And I don't know. And I don't mean like poor performance or anything, because that can happen, but like what I mean is like sometimes it just doesn't go in a way that you want to showcase. Because you want to showcase something interesting, something entertaining, and sometimes things just go boring. And then you feel like, well, this is a 2-hour boredom stretch and I don't want to present this anymore. And then you kind of scratch a project and that annoys you, and then you don't play the game anymore. So, and obviously sometimes you just mess up and you're like, well, it's not very entertaining. That happens. Happens to the best of us. And then you would have to re-record it because, well, you wanted to do a guide and then you messed up, and, well, who wants to see a guide where you just mess up? So you have to re-record it, and when you don't feel like it, and then you scratch a project. And that's also something I can do because, well, it's not a professional channel. I can just do that if I feel like it. That's a benefit. So, not bound by such things. If I lose interest in something, I can just scratch it. Although I do try to finish series that I started. So sometimes I do play games where I really lost all sorts of interest in just to finish a series. That does happen. It mostly happens when I am close to finishing it. It also happens like in the middle of a series where I just record the second half of a series and I kind of lost interest in it. So yeah, long story short, this is a lot of... Those are a lot of factors that impact your gaming just because you're creating videos. And I think a lot of content creators have similar experiences. Obviously, you're also impacted in the sense of looking for the games you play, looking for ideas, looking for maybe achievements you can showcase or things you can do a guide on or whatnot. So you're kind of constantly influenced by that. And not sure that is something everyone likes. So, yeah, there's that. Another thing I wanted to touch on was like the relationship between creators and publishers and the impact on smaller channels, because obviously that is something that I get to feel as well as a smaller channel. And I'm sure everyone has seen or heard of it in the past, of the big YouTubers kind of getting preview copies and being allowed to showcase games that aren't out yet, or whatever it might be. And obviously the regular consumer is kind of annoyed by that. And some are obviously glad that they get to see their favorite game or an upcoming game before it actually releases. But obviously some people are like, why do they get it? Just because they have a big channel? That's not fair. And a lot of smaller channels feel that way because they can't compete. By the time they get their hands on the game, the videos are already out. So they have a very hard time to actually compete. Because obviously the game is covered already before they even get to play it. And then they have to catch up in experience. Let's say you want to make a guide about it and someone else, a bigger channel, already has experience at the game and can do it. So there's a guide out already by the time you get your hands on the game. And that makes it very difficult, and that kind of restricts you to smaller games where the big YouTubers... Hey, we got an achievement. Where the big YouTubers aren't really interested or trying to cover it. Let me just quickly do something here. Let's grab a short drive from the job market. Hold on, I'll switch to a mouse here. Let's do something short. I don't really care. Just something for the background. Anyway, I've heard from a lot of smaller channels that are annoyed by that because they never really get the chance to compete on the big games, and obviously the big games is where the lots of views are coming in. So if you truly want to do something, you kind of have to stick to a smaller game, or you have to try to come up with an idea that the bigger ones didn't have yet. Or you just have to get lucky that the YouTube algorithm chooses you. Or you have to abuse this community poll feature. I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm not a big fan. But oh well. I wonder if they'll ever fix this, or if that was... Maybe it's intentional, I don't know. Kind of promote your own new feature. It's kind of annoying in my opinion, but... Like you're getting on YouTube, you're getting these community polls and whatnot from channels you have never even heard of, and you just don't care at all, but it kind of promotes them for literally no reason. Obviously live streams are also promoted, so not sure why they're doing that. They're kind of throwing their old school content creators under the bus a little bit, but well, that's a different topic. To get back to the previous topic, like, I'm not blaming the gaming companies. If I had a gaming company and I would want to publish a game, I would also give it to big YouTubers to promote it. And I would probably give it beforehand so that people pre-order it because they've seen that it looks good. And well, I would do the same thing. I understand it. It's not that I don't understand the practice or that I want to demonize it. It's just that I also understand that smaller YouTubers, and I've been in that ship as well, are just annoyed to a certain extent because you have a hard time competing. Like, by the time you get to do your content, and it's already hard to be on schedule because when this is not your job and you're working a regular job, then it's difficult. F this. Uh-oh. So again, when you have limited time, it's already difficult to get out the videos on short notice. Because obviously you have limited time. This could become rough. Nope, it works. Perfect. Now that we got the achievement for perfect delivery, I can just drive how I like again. Anyway. The thing is, you often also don't get an honest opinion from the big YouTubers. And in part that is because they either are paid to do this, like you get a free copy, but in turn you have to give some positive notes about the game and keep the negative remarks down a little bit. And again, the thing is, I don't blame the big YouTubers for doing it. I would do the same thing. And I don't blame the companies for doing it. So what's the solution to it? Well, there is none. That's just how the world works. I just want to bring some attention to the issue. And I think that smaller creators should at least get a chance to work together with developers a lot more. And I know that would just bring in swarms of creators, but I think if they spread out across the different games, it should be a little bit easier, like especially if you have a track record over a longer time of playing the games of a certain developer, or of promoting certain, well, maybe not promoting, of showing certain games and of covering certain games. I think you should at least get the chance to work with it or get a preview copy, and I don't know, it's hard to tell, because the incentive obviously for the publishers of the games isn't to throw out 1 million review copies. They want to throw out as little as possible for the biggest gain as possible, so you obviously only give it to the biggest channels and hope for the best. And I get that. I would do the same again. It's a hard thing to fix. Can you imagine if they started giving it out to some smaller channels? The outrage that would cause? Because, like, obviously you can't give it out to all of the small channels. And when you give it to some of the small channels, and they get to upload early, and they get that huge boost because they upload early, and timing is very important. And then other channels, other small channels, don't get to do that. Like, I don't think that would sit very well. I don't think that at all. Whee! Ooh. I think we just rammed someone off the road. We didn't get a crash vehicle offense though. Like, fun fact, if you drive next to the road, you don't go too fast because there is no speed limit next to the road. Oh, now it's back. Sometimes it works. Whoops. Now it returns. Now it's here again. Okay. Now it's gone. No speed limit. Woo! Yeah. Anyway. The obvious solution is to only give out games after release. And some publishers do it where they only allow the content to be uploaded after release, but even then you can pre-produce so much that a smaller channel kind of can't keep up with that volume. Again, especially if you have limited time because you actually have an actual job that you must do instead of just doing YouTube all day. It's hard enough as is to produce videos early enough for them to matter. So that's one of the biggest parts of why I didn't cover the AoE 2 DLC as in depth as I would have liked. It was covered to death already. There was nothing I could have added. And I will play the campaigns as part of my whole campaign run, but I won't give it priority. Because right now there are 1 million other channels covering it. And I think if I cover it in a while, when the hype has died down a little bit, then maybe it can become interesting, kind of a throwback type deal. But to compete with the big ones, especially those that get it earlier and have things pre-recorded, you need a lot of time and you need a lot of dedication, and even then you have only a very limited chance because they obviously already have the audience, they get it earlier, they have everything playing in their favor, and that makes the market very rough for smaller channels. That is really where some tension comes in between smaller and bigger channels. Uh-oh. Yeah. We have $700. It's okay. It was a great overtake, though, gotta admit. Hey, we finished 2 deliveries in 1 video. Who would have thought? I don't care about 15 XP or even 90. Let's quickly grab another job here. This is one of those games that I only play for recordings. And it's one that I don't need to prepare. So that's certainly a benefit. It's one last thing that I want to talk about, and geez, that's an annoying truck. Oh goody, it's starting great. This is starting off the next topic very great, and that expands on something I was touching on earlier, and that's the pressure to perform when you are recording. And the community interaction, and to a certain extent, god damn it, to a certain extent the community interaction and the benefits of a smaller channel in that regard, because obviously that is something that I can relate to best. And hey, we made it out. Success. Alright. And I want to start with the benefits of a smaller channel. And yeah, red lights are for losers. The main thing is the interaction with the community that I really like about having a smaller channel. Now, obviously when you have, I don't know, 1 million subscribers, you can't interact with them. I mean, with some of them, yeah, sure, but like when you have such a big community, it becomes difficult. And I have regular viewers and some regulars that leave comments, and I'm glad I can respond to them a lot of the time. Sometimes I forget to respond to comments, and some comments are just, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to respond to them. Like, we're just there, you know? I can't respond to... I could respond to everything. I don't get that many comments, but there are just some things where I'm like, okay. I don't know. I tend to leave a like on them, and I also respond to critical comments. To comments making suggestions on how I can improve videos, but that's another thing. But kind of being able to stay in touch with a couple of people that do comment regularly and people that do regularly come to your videos is kind of cool. Like, I recognize those names, and that's kind of a fun thing. When you recognize names appearing in the comment section repeatedly. And that's certainly enjoyable. And I think for a bigger channel that is true to some extent. You also have repeating names, but it's a lot harder when you have like 1 million people watching it. So, and it's not to say that I prefer having a smaller channel over having success. Obviously I also would enjoy more views, everyone does. But it's certainly a benefit while you still have a smaller channel that you should make the most of. I also think the viewers enjoy when you interact with them to that extent. So I think that's why live streaming is that popular, because you have this interaction with the creator. And then another thing is kind of the comments that you get, that I wanted to touch on, the comments that you get, and kind of the pressure to perform, because people are very harsh to judge now. Most people, if they would watch themselves play, they would notice that they're not as good as they think they are. Let's put it that way. And I noticed that as well, like when I started recording, I was like, oh my, I missed that, oh my, I didn't see this. And that's just part of the process. You sometimes oversee things and you thought you did better than you actually did, and that's why sometimes rewatching your own videos helps you improve, because you're like, oh, I missed that, oh, I should have done this. And while that's good for learning, it also opens the door for very unpleasant comments. And putting yourself out there is certainly not for everyone. I don't think everyone can deal with putting yourself out there and getting negative comments, because not everyone is made for that. It can be very disheartening when you get negative comments, and I think especially for younger people that are on YouTube, this could be a problem, and it could also kind of ruin their fun, not only in YouTube, but also in gaming in general, where it just limits the fun they are having while playing the game. And that's a shame, because gaming should be about fun. And again, this is especially true for the younger people that are maybe not as secure already within themselves, and that maybe don't have the experience in those things yet. And the internet is a rough world, obviously. We all know that. But kind of being subject to this harassment and this treatment just because you don't play up to the standard that someone else sets, and then having to put that out there into a video, it's always difficult. And for them you can hope that, especially if they're insecure, then you can hope that they don't get a big channel, because this small channel you usually don't get very many of those comments. You do get them here and there, but the bigger your channel gets and the more views a video gets, the more negative comments you're going to get as well. And that's just something you're going to have to live with, and I just hope that most people get to deal with it properly and don't get discouraged by it too much. That's just something I hope. Because it would be a shame if being subject to negative comments on YouTube ruins the gaming experience for people. That would be a shame. And I will leave it at that today, with that message to everyone out there to not get discouraged by negative comments. We all get them. Everyone does. And especially to the younger ones who aren't that settled yet, who aren't that secure yet, who aren't that at peace with themselves, who are very reliant on the opinion of other people. Don't get discouraged too much. Don't let others suck the fun out of gaming from you. And YouTube can do that. YouTube can suck this fun out of gaming. Who did I crash? Oh well, whatever. Rambo! Anyway, with that message, and I wish good luck to everyone out there on YouTube. I hope you can be successful. I wish good luck to everyone who isn't on YouTube. I hope you can be successful as well at whatever you do. And we are going really fast. We are successful at doing that. Whee! Speeding offense. Barely too fast. I just hope none of you gets discouraged by the negativity of other people, especially in the YouTube comments. Don't take that too seriously. YouTube comments tell more about the person writing it than what they are hinting at. They tell a lot about the person writing it, because people project their own insecurities and their own failures onto others. So don't be discouraged. Keep having fun, keep producing what you like. Don't take it too seriously, and I hope we can see each other next time. I hope you fare well, and until then, bye bye.